Do you have a cracked or broken windshield on your BMW, but don't know the best place to get it repaired at? Well, in today's video, we're going to the #1 most reputable windshield repair company to get my front windshield replaced. So let's go ahead and get straight into the video. So I was out the other night driving my E92, and I noticed that I had a crack on one side of the car, and it was growing bigger and bigger as I was driving. And you can see if I zoom in, it's a pretty gnarly crack. It goes all the way from the passenger side to the corner of the windshield, all the way through to the driver's side where I have my sticker. And now if we come around to the passenger side of my E92, I can actually show you where the impact point was that caused this entire cracked windshield. So while I was on a road trip a few months ago, I was driving and one of the trucks in front of me kicked back a rock against my windshield and caused this little impact point here. It was not an issue for months. It basically was just that right there, no crack or anything of the sort, but for months of driving in different climates and conditions, it caused the front windshield to crack all the way through from one end to the other. And now this is a very common crack point because it's at about the same level as your front defroster. So if you go over here to turn on your defroster and heat it up to get rid of any fog, you're gonna see that that's usually when the crack starts to spread, because it went from one side, it was only right about there, and spread all the way through because I had my front defroster on. Once I saw my front windshield was as cracked as it was, I went ahead and scheduled an appointment to get it replaced. And so what I went ahead and did was contacted the #1 most known, windshield repair shop throughout the nation, and that would be Safelite. So Safelite has had a ton of positive reviews, but also some negative ones. So what I did from there is hopped on Safelite's website and actually booked an appointment within the same week. So I picked the drop and go service. So you pull up to the Safelite repair shop, you leave the key in the drop box, you leave, and then you come back same day and you can pick your car up. And now you can pick between some options here for what type of windshield you want. So you could do the basic package. You could do the package that includes the rain sensor if you have a rain sensor on your car. That way your front windshield will be compatible and you can still use that feature. Or you could do what I opted for, which is the solar treated panel that basically reflects all UV rays. Now this option was a little bit more expensive, but I didn't mind because I was genuinely curious. I want to see how the quality of Safelite's glass is going to be with their top tier option. So this option that I picked will have the cutout for my rain sensor, so I can still use that feature, and it's treated so it has basically like a purplish hue on it. It's basically like built-in tint, if you want to think about it that way. And it differs away UV light that could be harmful to your car's interior or you. I'm actually hyped because I'm curious to see how Safelite handles their repairs. So yeah, let's go ahead and hop on over to the Safelite repair shop. But before we go, I want to show you a quick tip that you should do before you get your windshield replaced by anybody. So I was reading some reviews online, and people were saying that when they had their front windshield replaced, the A-pillar of their BMW was getting damaged. And the reason for that is you have to think, if you're putting a pry tool in here to remove this front windshield, you're going to have to rest it against something. So this pillar here is basically the only way to actually remove your windshield, because you have to rest your tools against that and lift up. So now what I'll do is I'll show you a way that you can protect this entire A-pillar, so when you get your front windshield replaced, that does not get damaged. And now this is actually going to be a very simple solution. Just go ahead and grab some masking tape like this, and we're gonna mask off our entire A-pillar with a few layers. That way when they go in to start prying up against that windshield, they don't scratch up our brand new, like perfect condition pillar. Then we'll do the same exact thing over the roof of the car right here. And then as well, we'll do the same thing for the hood area. So go ahead and just start applying your masking tape to protect your paint. Perfect. So we went ahead and installed about 3 or 4 layers of this masking tape, and I think this will do its job in protecting my paint if they decide to use a pry tool to pull up on the windshield. I promise the extra step of taping off that entire area is worth it, because why would you not want to protect your paint from any possible damage and having to go through Safelite to have things warranted and like, hey, you damaged my paint, I need y'all to replace this. Then you have to argue back and forth. It's just not worth it. Take the extra couple minutes, mask off the entire area with masking tape, And then, yeah, we'll see how it looks after. We'll see if it was even necessary or not. But it's still a good rule of thumb. Why would you not do it to save yourself a possible headache? Let's go ahead and close the door, hop on over to Safelite, and I'll show you guys exactly what the drop-off process looks like. Nice. So we are actually here, guys. So now we'll go ahead and hop out the car, transfer the key over, and then we should be good to go to just pick it up at 5 o'clock. So they said drop it off by 9:30 a.m. and you'll be good to pick it up by 5 p.m. So yeah, let's go ahead, power off the car. We'll go inside and we'll hand them over the keys, and then we'll come back to pick up the car. So there's not any open parking spots, so I just pulled Vader up right around to the side here. But yeah, it was super simple. You literally just sign off on the paperwork saying you acknowledge the price. No gotchas in the contract, and then yeah, you pick it up at 5 o'clock. What's up, guys? So I actually just picked up my car from Safelite, so I have the receipt here in my hand, and a few things overall. So the drop-off process was extremely quick and easy. You literally walk in, hand them the key, tell them your last name, and then you get a text message and pick up your car. I dropped my car off at 9:32 in the morning, and they finished right at about 1:30. So pretty good turnaround time, about 4 hours in total. So now I'm going to show you guys the exact results to expect, or at least the exact results that I got after picking up my BMW from Safelite. Now this is the receipt they gave me, so let's go ahead and pop this open. We can see that there's no additional charges that they added on. We have $450 for the windshield, $39 for the recycle fee, $9 for replacing the seals, and then I had a $15 coupon, link for that down below. The total overall is $507.53, so not bad. Just to remind you, I did pay for the most premium package that you can get. It's a solar treated glass that keeps out harmful UV rays. It has the rain sensor compatibility because I have the automatic rain sensor on my BMW, so it automatically turns on when it starts raining. So the front windshield I got accommodates that as well. And there's a couple things I want to point out to y'all about overall how they did. I really do love the way this new front windshield looks in terms of the color. So I'm curious to see how the new solar protection works. You can see we have the strip across the top that's going to keep out any harmful UV rays. It basically has like a built-in tint into the glass, unlike, you can see my regular window here. Look at the difference from that to there, and it almost looks like you have front tint. On camera I can see my front seats, but when I'm not on camera it's really hard to actually see the front seats. It looks a lot darker up front, so I really dig the way that looks. Actually, it looks pretty unique. So if you step back and look at the car, you're like, why does that BMW have like a purple or blue front windshield? And I don't know, that's a cool touch for me because it was only offered in Europe where you could get this type of front windshield on your BMW. So overall, I am extremely glad that I made the smart choice to tape all of this off, because you can actually see, if you zoom in right here, we have some wedge marks from where they probably put like a pry tool in here and started lifting up on the front windshield. So it's good that I put that tape there, because whatever tool they used would have been directly on the paint and probably would have scratched it up. And so the brand of glass that Safelite installed on my E92 is this Foyao brand. So I did some research and actually found out that this is the OE supplier for BMW now. So all of the new F30s and F chassis BMWs, this is the brand that they install for the side windows, and it is original equipment. It rolls out from the factory with this brand. Now there is Pilkington and St. Gobain's, which is the two most known brands for BMWs for the E92, but I don't have any concerns with this just because, like I said, this is the new original equipment from the factory. And now the main thing I really have an issue with is this weather seal. So I taped off the car, as you guys know, to make sure they don't damage my paint. So the service tech, instead of using their head and removing the masking tape and then laying the front windshield on, they put the windshield on and then left the tape on. You can see here, I have this weather seal that's actually supposed to seal off any rain from getting inside. He basically did not activate the adhesive strip, because if I lift this up, you can see that the adhesive strip on there has not been peeled off or made ready, basically, because he left the tape on. So he should have taken off the tape and then pulled off the film and applied this adhesive strip. So now that's one more thing I have to do. I have to remove all this masking tape myself and basically activate that. So I'm doing part of the work that I paid for, like, myself, which I don't mind because I'm a car guy and I can give you content. But that's crazy to me, because if you pay $500-$600, why would you not use your head and remove this? I don't know, but you know what? I'm not going to be too angry at it. Let's go ahead and start removing this. So this should be pretty simple. And so now that all the masking tape is removed, now I can actually go ahead and activate the adhesive strip, and that's basically going to work to keep any water out. But yeah, I mean, it's just so stupid because at the top, the adhesive's already activated. So now I have tape that's kind of trapped under here. So I'll have to be very careful and try to find a way to get this tape out without damaging the new weather seal. And also, if we look right here, this fitment is absolutely terrible. So I'll probably have to lift up on this trim a little bit and then tuck this underneath, because that is not good to go right there. And I don't know why they didn't just put in the extra work of lifting this up. Maybe they didn't want to damage it. That would make sense. But yeah, I mean, it's not tucked at all. It's just overlapping the top. Not a huge deal. You know, surprisingly, that doesn't bother me enough. This is at least better than having a completely cracked windshield. But I'll try to work this. But let's go ahead and activate the adhesive strip here. And overall, that is the end product. So I went ahead and pulled off the film and laid the adhesive down. The thing is, if you look closely right here, you can see we have our painted A-pillar and the rubber trim is coming over the top. So you could get like an X-Acto knife and carefully trim this down so it's nice and even and flat. But you can see right here, we have excess rubber that's gonna catch. So if I brush my finger along the top, it catches. But overall, having new weather seal here is still pretty great, so I'm not too concerned. I don't consider that to be such a bad thing. Another thing I just noticed as well is tracing down right here, our weather seal seems to not wrap all the way through the windshield. Looks like there's a hole there. That's kind of worrying, because if it's raining outside or if I'm power washing the car, you literally have a hole. So it's gonna like go down into the car maybe itself, or at least down into the body of the car. Now, I don't think that's a huge issue, because I don't know if there's anything in this portion of the car, like the fender area, that has like electronics or wiring or anything like that. But it's still a little weird that there's a completely exposed part of my front windshield. So I don't like that. But let's go ahead and start peeling off the rest of this masking tape, and we'll see if we find anything crazy on that side. And so same exact overlap problem here, but let's go ahead and remove off the masking tape, pull back on this little film here, and we'll activate my adhesive. So pull that all the way through, up to the top, and should be good. And now I'll simply press that all into place, just like this. We can see I have the same gap over here down there I had on the other side, literally a hole right there. Now, the number one thing I'm irked about is that this top seal is already in place. So I removed my masking tape as much as I could, but we can see some of it still got trapped underneath this seal. It's not a big deal because this is paper masking tape. So after a few car washes, this adhesive is going to be released, and you'll simply be able to get like a credit card in there, a plastic one, and kind of wedge all this out. So I'm not too worried. Overall, having this little tape residue lined up right here for a couple weeks is a lot better than having permanent damage all across your pillar from where the paint would have been chipped up. I'm glad I went the extra mile and taped everything off, because who knows how much damage there could have been, you know, had I not taped off the A-pillars and etc. And then the rubber seal didn't line up perfectly, but besides that, it's better than having brand new cracks. I would say that it looks pretty damn good overall. I mean, you know, it's not OEM fitment, I'll say that much. It's not OEM, but for the price point that you're paying and having that new solar treated panel that basically is going to allow this thing to not cook my interior. You can see I have a black interior, so it'll be really nice having some sort of, you know, front protection to keep out all those harmful, you know, UV rays. So I think it was a good experience overall. Driving with a damaged or cracked front windshield on your BMW can be extremely dangerous. Yeah, you can probably get away with a small impact point or a chip or something like that, but if you have a huge crack going down the whole window, you do not want to drive on that. The front windshield does a lot more than keep off bugs and little rocks. It's a very important layer of your car's structural integrity, especially if you get in a car accident. If you have a crack going down your front windshield when you get into a collision, you have a serious chance of something bad happening to you. You have a chance of your entire front windshield caving in prematurely and coming back and shooting back at you. So get it replaced, because you never know. You might have a rock get flung back at your car, and it might just be a little too big to where instead of causing a chip, it causes your entire already damaged window to explode on you. And that actually has happened. Search it up, look at Reddit. People's windshields that they don't go and replace have actually imploded on them from hitting potholes and rocks coming back at them. It's dangerous. Don't even risk it. Overall, I'd say Safelite did a pretty good job. Now, they're not going to give you some OEM BMW glass and fitment and do it like a dealership. You can see that the weather seals around the whole front windshield, they don't look terrible, but they don't look great. You can definitely see there's overlaps, and it's aftermarket. It does not look factory, it doesn't look OEM. So I'd say the fitment of the windshield overall, you know, maybe like a 7 out of 10, but I really love the way it looks. And for the price point, $500, I brought it in same day, got it all replaced. My whole front windshield basically has tint now that keeps out harmful UV rays. Like, it looks a lot darker when I'm looking at the car now. And yeah, all that put together, I'd say it's a good value for $500. I'll have a follow-on review for y'all of how this entire window, you know, holds up over time and how big of a difference the solar treatment actually makes. But for now, I'd say they met my standards, but they didn't exceed. They maybe came a little under my standards just because I have, you know, OCD when I pay for things especially. I feel like the windshield should have fit like a glove. So overall, still a positive experience. We'll see. Hopefully that doesn't change, but if it does, you'll be the first to know. As always, thank y'all so much for the support. I genuinely love each and every one of y'all, and I want y'all to really take that in, because I mean it. And yeah, I'll catch y'all in the next video. Peace out.